Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, I'm answering some listener questions and shining a light on what really matters in this time now. Hopefully, we'll share some giggles and my new favorite film, all this and more. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Guess who it is? Guess. It's me, Robin. Your friend on the journey, your pal on this path. I don't know why I'm laughing, except I totally do, because sometimes on this path, you just want to say WTF. Am I right? It's so true. So yes, I'm already cracking myself up. Welcome back to the podcast, Tea with Robin. This is episode 108. 108. Did you know it's a sacred number? I'm not feeling any pressure or anything, but let's see what happens. Friends, if it's your first time here, let me introduce you to myself and me, because I'm never sure which way you're supposed to say that. It's me, Robin. Welcome. I hope you enjoy listening. I hope it's not your only listen. And thanks for being here. So beautiful, friend. How is the weather in your heart today? You know, I hope that you are being kind and gentle and allowing yourself room to be. Room to be. You, exactly as you are. Room to rest. Room to read, if that's your thing. Room to play. To fiddle with things. You know, room for you. Room for you to matter. Room for you to do what you want. I hope you are. Over here, it's a beautiful day. I'm recording on a Saturday. I was just outside exploring the yard. It's definitely no denying it. Fall is on the way. But there are still so many flowers blooming in my garden at the same time. And it's kind of this, I don't know, it just feels like that magical, mysterious in-between. And even this morning, I got up at it wasn't even that early. It was 6, but it was already very dark. We're normally already very dark. No, let's say that again. It was still very dark. And earlier in the summer, it's already very light, you know. So I could look out the kitchen window and see one star straight ahead. And it was that kind of sky where the sky was really dark, but the clouds had a lot of light in them still, and it just looked mystical. It looked magical, just so beautiful. And I really felt it then. I hope that this day could be filled with wonderment, with ease and flow and permission, you know, just to be, just to do as we please. It is the weekend, you know. So weather in my heart is good. Number one and I visited the beach, the Robin Beach that I often talk about here. I hope it's not for the last time, but you know, it's already too cold to swim in the water. And but I did get to my ankles and stood for a long time and thanked the water for all the adventures this summer, all the beautiful times this summer. And it felt so good to just be myself and actually do the things I do and not even in my own mind resist the urge to seem weird. Does that make sense? You know, like, this is really how I am. What if I just lived here? Instead of always worrying, is this weird? Am I weird? You know, and if I am, maybe I should be proud of that, because that's freaking awesome. Somebody who has ritual in their heart and celebrates, that's amazing. You know what? I want her for my friend. Except, hi, it's me, and I am my own friend. So a nice time at the beach collecting rocks and walking around, and we even went out to our first restaurant meal together since the pandemic, and that was a nice experience. I felt a little bit like a wild animal, honestly, on the inside. Though I had gone for margaritas once with number one kiddo, but that was just drinks. So, I don't know. It was fine. I thought it was cool, some of the changes they've made, like no more paper menus. You can scan the thing and pull up the menu on your phone. I mean, unless you're annoyed by technology. But I thought, wow, that's kind of neat. Less paper. And I had fajitas, and he had some lake perch, and it was nice. Have I said nice like 29 times yet? Well, we better have some tea before I keep going with nice. It was nice. I have 2 cups of tea going here, but I'm lifting my mug of Earl Grey and sea salt and stevia to you. I happen to know you are amazing, and I must say I love knowing that you're there, and we're riding together, and we're showing up, and we're daring to be us in this world. In some ways you could almost say it's post-apocalyptic. It's post-apocalyptic in a lot of ways. We're on the other side of many things. We're still going through many things. It bolsters me to know you're there, and I hope you feel the same about me over here. Cheers. Yum, 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 yum. Before I begin, I wanted to tell you there's a healing circle happening with me on October 9th. If you're listening in real time, you can sign up. Wherever you're listening to this, there should be a link back to my website. You can sign up under classes or under classes and retreats, or always you can message me and I'll send you the link on Instagram or Facebook. 2 p.m. Chicago time. It's perfect if you're wanting to do some healing around anything going on. If you just feel like, my God, I need an hour and some time. I need a chunk of time to myself to honor what's going on for me and to be with like-minded hearts and make space for my experience. I would highly recommend it. Small circle. And the other thing I wanted to say is I'm interested in having some conversations with you here on the podcast. If there's a topic you'd like some support with, if there's an issue in your life you'd like some support with, and you're okay with coming on the air and talking with me. I mean, I want to say it not to scare you off, but okay, it's going on iTunes, it's going on Spotify, and you're okay with that. Get in touch with me, and we will set up some time. I think it would be a beautiful thing to have a conversation with you who wants to do some work in a powerful way, some healing work in a powerful way. And it's not so you can come and sell your handmade paperclip collection. It's so we can do healing. So just know that. It's not an advertising opportunity. Okay. So today, I thought it would be fun just to switch things up a little bit if I were to spend the episode answering your questions. I've been collecting them, wondering if it might be interesting. So let's try a few listener questions. And if you have a listener question, email me at hello@robinhallett.com, and all the information is here in the episode show notes. So the first question was, how do I know I'm on point? I'm okay. I'm doing it right. My journey, my life, my pandemic experience. How do I know I've done all the things I should be doing? How do I know I'm okay? How do I know this is turning out right? How do I know I'm okay? It's going to be okay. So my thought on that, on how do you know, is you are always on point. You are always on point, on track, making progress. You are always in a state of perfection. And I mean, you are always becoming more fully yourself, even in the crummy times, even in the times where you feel like you're just sitting there doing nothing. You are still in a state of being and becoming. So it really, for me, comes down to, A, you need to know who you are. And I feel if you struggle with deep thoughts like that, like, am I okay? Am I doing life the right way? Is this working out? Am I on point? Am I a good parent? Am I a good citizen of the world? Am I making a difference? Am I, you probably are somebody who needs to be reminded of God every single day in your heart. Your way of reminding yourself about what God is in your heart. Some kind of a philosophy and a practice that you study that keeps helping you know, I am not just this one here. For me, I'm not just a 51-year-old lady who's the stepmom to 2 amazing kids and the wife to number 1 husband and, broadcast a podcast in the upper quadrant of her home at this very moment. I made chicken salad sandwiches for lunch. I'm not just that. I'm a spark of the divine. I come from somewhere else. My energy, whatever that is. I didn't just spring up out of the ground like a weed in the spring, with no intelligence behind me. Something else is moving me. Something else is here in the mix. And even in my bouts of depression or self-confidence wobbles, which, it comes and goes like the weather, honestly, I remember who I am. I know who I am. So I would really recommend that to you as a daily practice of touching in, I call it. Touching in with God in your own way. And, it's fine. Whatever God is for you is the right way for you, Could be nature. It could be whatever. But do what you can to go beyond the small self, the personality self in your day, often, because I think that's the trap for all of us. If you can't do that, then you are identified with your job, your address, your credit card information, the stuff you'd fill out on the application to get a credit card. You're that. So you got to go beyond that for yourself. And the other thing is, just because you don't see the evidence of your evolving, of your evolution, of your beauty, of your light, of your progress, it doesn't mean it isn't happening. I was just out in the yard and I was thinking about all the things underground right now. There are seeds I plant in the fall. I'm going to be planting these seeds in the fall, I should say. I won't see them. I won't see them till the spring. And in the spring, they'll just be tiny little sprouts. I won't know for sure. the evidence. You know, was that really this wildflower or these hollyhocks or these oriental poppies? I won't know until spring. And even in spring, I won't know until just before summer, when some of those things begin to bloom. And even then, I won't know if they're guaranteed to stay that way forever. Over the years, my echinacea, my coneflowers, have begun to blend with each other, and they're now this really beautiful soft pink when they were once that deep purple and orange. So, you know, just because you don't see the evidence, it doesn't mean it isn't happening. How do you keep the faith? How do you keep the faith? Even now, in this pandemic, whatever's happening, and so many of us are struggling, and it seems like we need a code word, because I notice that even my friends, they don't want to write me and say, I feel like crap today, Robin. Please send a hug. I wish they would, though. I wish they would. I do that. Sometimes I do that. But the point is, life is happening. There is light happening through the life, and that is our job to remember. We need to stay excited about anything and everything we're excited about, by the way. Anything and everything. Not just making money. Not just where our kid is going to go to college. Not just, the right, I'm trying to air quotes for you here, the right things we think we're supposed to be focused on. What is lighting you up right now? Is it learning a new recipe? Is it rearranging your summery home into fall vibes? What is lighting you up right now? Rearranging your art space? Let yourself be excited about what's exciting you. Be open to possibilities and wonder. And, ask for what you want with clear intention. I think that sometimes, let's go back to if somebody's worried about money and a job right now and security, what you really want is to feel safe and held, correct? You want to feel safe and held. You don't necessarily want to be a computer programmer at a company or a substitute teacher or a data processor, is it? It's about feeling safe and secure. So make that the clear intention. I tell people this all the time, that I have had to learn during the pandemic especially, but way before that, I don't have to worry about where things come from. My job is to show up and stay in my space of shining, whatever that looks like for me. Stay in my space of excitement and joy, whatever that looks like for me. And so long as I'm serving in a way, I'm showing up in a way that is unique to me, I do feel we stay in this natural flow. So stay in the space of natural flow. And, when you find yourself worrying or stressing or straining, you've pulled over to the side. So recognize that, tend to your needs, and then come back. Come back into the state of flow. And if you realize you can't control things, just like I can't control the weather, I'd like to swim in the lake some more, but the water's too cold now. I can't control the weather, but I can control how I decide to flow with that stuff. And that's what you can control too. You can decide to keep the faith, stay in a place of trust, and allow yourself to explore your day, your time, your choices, your fun. So that's beautiful. I approve this message. Sorry. Oh. It's funny, I approve this message makes me think of politics. And hi, do you know about politics? There's politics happening in the U.S. of the A. What about you across the pond? Have you got some politics happening also as well? Well, it's funny because we don't really watch commercials anymore. We don't really watch TV. I mean, everybody watches something, but I mean, we're watching Amazon Prime and Netflix, and there are no adverts there. But I remember the days where you can't get through anything without the political ads, and then at the end, I approve this message. Well, I don't miss that one bit. Nope. So the other question I wanted to answer this week is, what are some of the common patterns I see us falling into? People I help, people I know, me, including me. And by patterns, what I hear when somebody asks me that is either, how are we living in a way that's unconscious? How are we repeating something that is not really an awakened part of ourselves? We're not really doing it intentionally. And it's also serving as a defense mechanism. It's a way that we're living in a wounded state or a defended state. Or, I never used to want to answer stuff like this because I always worried it would make us feel bad about ourselves if we would recognize ourselves in these examples. You know what I mean? And I know I remember going when I was studying in healing school or other kinds of the advanced psychology program. Advanced. I didn't call it advanced. It's what it was called. The programs I studied in. When the teacher would make fun of things, I would always feel so tender-hearted. I didn't like it. I think sometimes I'm too sensitive and worried for my own good. So that's the first pattern I would suggest we talk about, is one I'm very familiar with. Maybe you are too. Being afraid, walking on eggshells, caring more about the opinion of other people than our own, believing a story of our badness. That's one. So instead of taking these risks of blowing through that and saying what you want to say, just say what you want to say. Just say how it is for you, and trust that if people can't hack it, that's their deal, man. You gotta get through that. So that's the first pattern, is the way we stay protected is we believe we cause harm with our words. And we have lots of evidence to back it up. And so as long as we believe in that story, we don't have to risk speaking our truth. And we end up making things so much harder than it has to be. It adds enormous amounts of mental energy and strain to the day. So that's mine right there. I wonder if you have some of that too. Well, probably all the ones I want to talk about today, I would guess we can recognize these, each of them to some degree. So, I think sometimes that can get in the way where you're like so afraid to hurt people's feelings that you end up doing it anyway, because that's like the hit. You got to rip the Band-Aid off at some point. And I got to say, this week has been a ripping the Band-Aid off kind of a week in so many ways. I don't even know how I could catch you completely up, but like, I can't worry about it anymore. I've already had people think I was upset with them or talking about them. But these patterns I'm talking about, they're really defense mechanisms. They're things we do to keep ourselves defended. Do you know what it means to be defended? When you have your hackles up, when you don't feel safe and you cannot relax and you don't feel able to be rested in your body because you're on high alert. Think about how this might happen for you. It's probably a common one that people assume when you're being confronted and you get defensive. I do not. And when you say things like, I never say that, defensive. But let's talk about defenses in another way, because I do love the idea of helping us grow and learn together. So I made some notes here. Controlling. Oh, and I should have said this at the top, but, they're building a house next door. I call it the mountain. It is ginormous. I can hear the hammer going. It's like I came up here on the quiet of a Saturday, but of course, here comes the noise. So usually I never hear it on the playback, but this covers my you-know-what in case it's noisy. Now I won't have to worry as I'm talking. And did I tell you his name is Jesus, one of the carpenters there? This is going back a few months, so Jesus might not be working there. But I do like the image of Jesus next door with the hammer. Do you know that song? If I Had a Hammer? I had a hammer in the morning. Yeah. So, here we go. The defenses I think are really fascinating are ways we defend ourselves from living life. Ways we prevent ourselves from actually being here now in this moment. So I think this is a very interesting conversation to have with you. And the three I wrote down are controlling, being somebody who's controlling everything in your experience, controlling your life, controlling other people, controlling the plan, controlling the day, controlling your healing, controlling, your hands are out in front of you. I definitely have this. All right, I'm not going to raise my hand. Probably have all of these, and so do you. So there's a defense I call the controlling defense. The other defense is the confusion defense. Where you just don't understand. You don't get it, and you also believe that about yourself, like you're too dumb to function in the world somehow. You're too messed up. You're too confused. You're too slow. So you spend a lot of your time being confused. And if I say you, please don't take it personally. Sometimes these words are such a pain in the arse, right? You or I or we or certain people have this thing where I'm just going to say you. Some of us learned how to survive by staying confused. That's why it's a defense mechanism. If I don't understand, if I don't know, if I don't see what's going on, if it doesn't compute, there's safety in that, right? Okay. Confusion. And then the other one is collapse. These are the three that came to mind. I like that they're all C's. Collapse. Like life is just one more thing. One more thing. Every day, every minute is just one more thing of an already overwhelming, horrible experience. Overwhelming, tiring, exhausting, debilitating experience. Collapse. I think for me, if I'm looking at this list, hang on, I have to open the window. At different times, I do all of these. And maybe you find already you related to them too. So it's not really that big of a deal. It's when you're living in that place permanently and you're not really clear and it's hard to relax. I think that can be a challenge, when it's just a constant happening. And you might not know it's going on for you, but the people in your life, oh, they're sure it's going on for you. So you may be hearing, that's a lot of times what happens for me in healing sessions is I hear complaints about other people doing these things. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you recognize any of these in yourself, I think the one for me the most is controlling. I can be kind of tight-butted. In fact, this morning I was making a joke on Morning Magic because actually I have a tight butt on one side, only on the left side right now, like the lower back, upper butt cheek is really tight. It has been for days. And, there are Epsom salt baths you can take. I'm using the TENS machine a lot. If you know what that is, you can order one on the electrodes on Amazon or wherever you get it to help with the muscles and, stretching and stuff. But at some point, the whole problem is because we're doing too many things. So with the controlling thing, it's about learning to relax on the inside and let things be. Let things be. Let it be. Let it be. And, it's okay if everything isn't perfect. I love how I'm talking about this and the sirens start up. Not everything is an emergency or a high-level problem. But there's a way that we can be so controlling that everything feels like that and we don't even know it. So from the inside, spend some time, if this relates for you, from the inside, spend some time relaxing yourself. It could be as simple as when you get up in the morning, before you get out of bed, that you tune into your spinal column, that you tune in and you really practice softening and relaxing. I know Number One Husband talks about this sometimes where he does this practice of unplugging. It reminds me of, do you remember in the movie The Matrix where Neo first is unplugged from the Matrix when he realizes he's in a little bubble of goo inside this thing with all these other people in their bubbles of goo hooked up to the machinery, and then the machine, all the hoses unplug him from the Matrix and they release his body. There's a visual. You can relax your way like that, where you're unplugging from things that have you very stressed, that have you feeling controlling, that have you feeling tight. To keep softening, to let your shoulders soften, to let yourself breathe, to let yourself relax. And if you really relate to that, then work on it. Work on it. The confusion defense is very interesting because it's like, I'm confused, and as long as I'm confused, I don't get it. And if I don't get it, I'm confused. And it's just this swirl that happens, and there's a lot in there that continues to affirm the confusion in your mind. I'm confused. I don't get it. I'm confused. I don't get it. And actually, it's a defense mechanism. All of these are actually to keep you safe, to protect you, to stay inside a certain kind of bubble. And avoid having to experience any kind of failure. As long as we can be confused, people can keep explaining things to us and trying to help us along, and we don't have to experience certain things like resiliency, pushing through to the other side on our own. And it's important to allow ourselves to experience some of the things, the scary things of, I was talking about this a few weeks ago when people say, I don't do social media, and it's really because it's too overwhelming to learn how it all works, which I so get, having been somebody who had to learn how to do WordPress by herself, and I would put my head on the desk and cry when nobody was home, that is, because showing up, figuring out how to be here in life, in a body, in your day, in your world, it is overwhelming. It can be confusing. But there are no mistakes. And you can't get it wrong. Maybe you have been criticized or called names. And so this is a way you've learned to kind of do it to yourself before anyone can call you dumb again. You know what I mean? But how do you want to show up in the world? I think it's really a good question, because you are in charge of yourself. How do you want to show up in the world? Ask yourself that. And know how you mean talk yourself. Know that, because you do that. If this is something you relate to, you definitely mean talk yourself. I see this one a lot, and it's just easy for us to kind of dial down or dumb ourselves down in order to claim a certain level of safety, but it's not safety, is it? So if you kind of act like you're confused, or you imply you're kind of dumb, and there's some weird safety to that, but it's not safe. You know where the safety lies? Being one with yourself, your true self, the divine one in you, who is all wise and knowing, knows his or her stuff like you can't even believe how smart you are. So ask yourself, because some people with this confusion defense, they stay confused forever. Talk sweetly to yourself and encourage yourself that you can. Think of some of the things you've accomplished in your life, if you've had kids, you've birthed an entire human being. If you've raised a pet, you are capable, my friend. Just things like that. Just amazing. So encourage yourself. Be kind to yourself. And the other one I mentioned is called collapse, where things are just too hard. The world is too hard. We're in a pandemic. I think a lot of us have this collapse defense going on right now, where we just don't have it in us to do one more thing. You know what I mean? To experience one more thing. So, and everything, one more thing and you're going to explode. Collapse can be a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that you lay down and cry. You could be an explosive person. I know a lot of moms who talk to me about swearing and yelling and screaming. And if that's you too, listen, I already said it like 10 minutes in. You're perfection right now. Even as a screamer, you're still perfect. And clearly, it's not optimal for you to live this way. That's all there is to it. It's like making things much harder on yourself than it has to be, you know? So we really want to sit with, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Not in a mean, judgy, harsh way, like you're going over and over your behavior and that's the only thing that matters is what you look like on the outside. For any of these, why am I doing this? Why am I so controlling? Why am I so confused? Why does the world seem so hard? You know? I know people for years who can't manage to figure out how to get on to the Zoom call for years. And now even with the pandemic, they still can't do it. That's a confusion defense, if you ask me. I'm not trying to be rude or judgy here. I'm just saying, you know, there's probably something, a story overlaying this thing. I mean, if you're not 193 years old and technology has never been part of your experience or something, there's probably another thing going on there. And would you be open to gently inquiring what's going on for you and how can I help you to yourself? Be kind, be sweet. You know, one other really interesting thing about this is that if you have a lot of friction in your life, where you have friends or family, where there's friction, where they seem to push back against you a lot, you might be having something that you do that you don't even realize you're doing. There might be something you do. You know, like some people are very controlling and they don't know that they're controlling. And so the people around them are very, you know, they can push back. They can push back at you. I mean, when I get controlling, when I get overwhelmed or scared, it's 3:33 on the clock right now. When I get overwhelmed or scared, I can get controlling. I can be snappy and controlling, tight. And just one look is all it took. You know that song? I'll look at Jeff and I know exactly what I'm doing. It's like looking in a mirror. I see it. I see it so clearly, what I'm doing. And that's all it takes. And thank goodness he doesn't hold a grudge for 893 hours the way I sometimes can. You know, pay attention to your behavior. Here comes the buzzsaw. I wonder if you can hear that. Pay attention to what other people are doing around you in response to you. If it's a common thing, you're hearing feedback, you know, there might be something to what you need to do. There might be something to what you need to do. And really, you're the one who can sit with that and know. And, you know, you're never bad or wrong. You know what I mean? You're always beautiful in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit, in your light. And how do you want to roll in your day? I really, speaking of the overwhelmed defense, I think for me, some of my anxiety and depression that I talked about, where it just went on for an entire, almost 4 months straight, to the point where I was really beginning to wonder, you know, what is going on? I think with what I learned about that time was I was overwhelming myself with my stories and my thoughts, and overwhelming myself with the deductions I kept making about who I am, and really, really difficult time, which I continued to make worse for myself by focusing on it and continuing to dialogue about it in my heart. Like, you're not okay, you're not doing good, you know, this isn't good, this isn't right. So eventually when I started practicing, realizing like, hey, I don't want to feel this way, and I believe it's possible for me to do this without getting diagnosed or getting another prescription, any of that. I wanted to work on it on my own. It just felt that was my way. Everybody has to find their own way with this. So I'm not here to make any distinctions about that. I'm just saying I really felt in my heart this is something I can work on. And it was huge, was just stop telling yourself all the time that you're depressed and anxious and overwhelmed, that life was too much and I was a disappointment and I didn't get anywhere. And I could not believe how much things turned around once I stopped doing that. And I really started practicing, again, my Course in Miracles studies, the things that bring me joy and remembrance. And also just let yourself play, I wasn't having much fun. I feel like now I'm having more fun. And I really, really like that. So if you find yourself relating to any of that stuff I said today, whether you're like, I don't know, when is it going to happen for me? When is it going to happen for me? Or you relate to the defenses, take some slack here, my friend. Take a lot of slack for yourself. Am I saying that right? Take a lot of extra space for you. And let yourself have a ponder about what it is you would really feel fulfilled doing, benefited by. And do you need some time for yourself just to unwind, just to relax? Do you need some more spacious permission to just be the average person in her average life? I do feel sometimes a lot of us have this superhero complex in secret, like we need to really make a lot of things happen in meaningful ways. And, you serve the world best by being yourself. So the idea that you have to be a superhero and it's all about your successes and your wins and the people you help and all of that, it's really going to be a tiring, toxic slump, one that I know all too well. And you got to live for you. You got to have your joy for you. And you need to know that how you serve in the world is by being yourself. Each of us has our own sliver of this universe. I think I talked about this last week in the Healthy Mirroring episode 107. Each of us has a sliver of the universe we are controlling. We're in charge. We are living in, and it's from there that we shine as ourselves. And we are gods in bodies, shining as us, expressing as us through this body in all of our ways. And, the ego never likes it when I say this, but you're expressing through the way your hair looks. You're expressing through the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, the color of your skin, the way you speak, the way your smile is, the way you like to make chicken. I wanted to say chicken a la ding dong, but I don't think that's a dish, is it? But okay, chicken a la ding dong. These are ways you serve. The way you check in with your friends, the way you move in your world, the things you like to do, the way your hands wrap around a little rock on the beach and you see the whole universe there. That's me. That's you serving. That's you showing up. That's you shining. That's you adding light in the world. And I said the ego doesn't like to hear this because the ego wants to serve with a big-ass metal bar on its pinned to its lapel. And it also wants to serve by being the biggest, horriblest wreck on the planet, too. That's why I called those things defenses, controlling, confused, or collapse. That's your ego. That's not your true self. So, my advice, no matter where we are, let's spend a little time out in nature. Let's move our bodies in natural ways. You don't have to run a marathon today to be healthy. In natural ways, and find the rhythm where we're just in life, enjoying, free, and not being so pressure-filled about everything we do, okay? So may this serve you today. I'm not going to read a letter this week. Like I said, I'm trying to mix things up a little bit here just to keep myself excited and keep playing with this feeling of let it be easy. So I hope you are enjoying and rolling with me. But I did want to tell you something cool that I saw today and yesterday and the day before. And that is a movie on Netflix, a documentary on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher. And if you haven't seen it yet, if you have seen it yet, if you haven't seen it, whatever, and you related to everything I said today, and you're somebody who's looking for meaning, and you're looking for a spark and a connection, see if you could make a time to watch this movie and let yourself be in your wonder-like delight. If you have small children, if you have kids, I think it's fine to watch as a family. Make it a special occasion and play as the octopus and the diver. That's all I'm going to say. Be all the characters in the movie, in the documentary, and see if you can find hidden parts in yourself. It is so beautiful and lovely. And yeah, that's my recommendation this week. Enjoy that. Let yourself get lost under the sea and, see how that does for you. I would love to know. See how that does for you. I'm excited to see you there. And if you see me post about this somewhere, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. You can share with me on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, so beautiful. So friends, I think I'll end it here. It is the weekend. I'm going to go, I'm actually in the middle of watching it again. It's been so good. When you find something you love it with all your heart, because that is the moment to love it. Not later once you get everything done. Not later once you earned your permission to watch TV. Now is all we've got. So, yeah, I hope something in here really resonated for you today. And if it did, would you please share it on? Give it a like wherever you are finding this. Consider supporting the podcast by making a donation, or, share this on with a friend. And always, always remember that you making the connection is you shining a light in the world. And that is for real. Nobody can twist your arm until you understand that. It's just one of those things we have to keep practicing. We've been so conditioned to think that it's money over miracles, that it's success over the sacred. But it is not true. And I hope I'm one person in your life who keeps challenging you to practice that. So thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you riding with me and showing up here every week. I'm sending you my love, and I'm going to see you here next week or in a few minutes. It's me, Robin. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.